And we're on air.
Okay.
I'm ready. I'm going to introduce you. Hi, everybody. I'm Jane from the Maplewood Library. Welcome to our KidPower workshop. Today, it's rollout with Transformers with Ahadu Chase. KidPower celebrates the talents of our local kids and their expertise. Ahadu is a creative and artistic homeschooler who's a 12-year-old resident of Orange. He's a phenomenal djembe drummer who has performed with Umoja Dance Studio and the Zawadi Dance Group. He recently performed in Savion Glover's Tap Dance Kid at NJPAC, and he performed as the understudy to the main character, Willie. Ahadu has been a regular presenter at the Maplewood Libraries for the past 2 years. He's also a developing tap dancer, which is a hoofer, and is currently training with Maurice Chestnut. So please welcome Ahadu Chase.
Thank you. Thank you.
Actually, I'm supposed to tell about questions. Sorry. Do you want to tell about questions, Ahadu, or you want me to?
You can do it.
All right. Anybody who has questions, we'll take them towards the end. And if you look at the bottom of your screen, there's a Q&A button, and you can type in your questions, and Ahadu will be happy to answer them at the end. So thank you very much, and welcome, Ahadu.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you for having me here. I hope everybody is well in quarantine and everything like that. Hold on. Okay, so just had some info there. But anyway, so I hope you guys are all well during this COVID-19 time. I hope you guys are doing good in quarantine, and I hope you enjoy this presentation. So what I'm going to cover in this presentation is basically, oh, I have a question. Autonomous attendee, thank you. Okay. Anyway, so I'm going to be covering in this presentation the history of the Transformers, on how the idea came about, how they created, how they brought it to America, how it became so popular, how the cartoon come about, and how it kept going. So I'll be covering that shortly, and then I'll also be covering the actual history and background of the characters, the whole storyline of the characters and such like that. I'll also be covering some different terms that you may hear through different cartoons and comics, and also I will be showing just some different characters and examples. I will have a Q&A section at the end, and I will also have some display. I will show you guys some of the display you can see in the background there as part of my display. But yeah, so we'll get into that right now. So I'm just going to share my screen. Let's get into it. Hold on 1 second. Open this. Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, share. Okay, so I'm hoping all of you guys can see this. So yeah, so let me start presentation. Okay, so hold on 1 second. Okay, technical difficulties here. Okay, so this is the presentation of the. Oh, I'm recording. Sorry about that. So this is the Transformers presentation, so let's get started. Okay, so the Transformers began with a company named Hasbro that was looking for some new production ideas. And from looking for some new production ideas, they had like a field kind of trip or tour for the company, and they went to Japan. And in Japan, they stumbled upon a toy line named Diaclone. So let me get some pictures of that here. So these are the Diaclone toys. So they stumbled upon a toy line named Diaclone by Takara Tomy, and that sparked some interest and some new ideas for the company. So they took the design of these toys, and they took the special feature of these toys, which was these toys could transform or turn into these vehicles and cars as you see here. And so that's how the whole name Transformers came about. It was from these toys being able to turn into a car or a robot, from a robot to a car or a dinosaur, a truck here, as you can see here. And so that really sparked the idea of the Transformers. So when Hasbro got back to America, they partnered with Marvel Comics to create the comics of the Transformers. The Transformers got some pretty good copies. The comics got some pretty good copies until they partnered with some animation companies to create the cartoon of 1984. Now, the cartoon of 1984 was really the basis for all the live action movies that you see now and all the kids' cartoons and all the different comics and things that we see in the present. So this is really the basis of everything that we see now. So when I cover characters and things like that, I'm going to be covering them mostly from the cartoon of 1984 from that reason. So after this presentation, you'll have a more, in-depth and more of the storyline on why and know more about the characters when you look at different cartoons and movies and stuff like that, because this was really the basis. So back to the history. So Japan and America, they piggyback off each other with footage and cartoons. So here's how it went. So Japan gave Hasbro the idea with their toys named Diaclone. Hasbro took it back, partnered with Marvel Comics, and created a comic. And created the whole storyline and idea of the Transformers. Then they created their cartoon. From the cartoon, Japan took the footage from Japan worked with America, took the footage of that cartoon, and they created their own version of the cartoon. Also, Japan started to create their own version of the whole Transformers scheme, and Hasbro / America took that and used it. So they kind of piggybacked off each other as far as ideas, footage, comics, and other things like that. Also, the UK, United Kingdom, was also a part of this piggyback kind of thing. And America and United Kingdom was more, they shared a little bit more footage and more comics. UK had a little bit more comics, and Japan was more on the footage side of piggybacking from America. So yeah. So now let's get into the actual history and stuff from the actual cartoon and the character. So it all started with these beings called quintessons. The quintessons here are these five-headed things. So if you're looking at the screen, we have this creature at the top, next to this robot here and under the planet, and above the planet. It has a purple orb and it has 5 different faces. And as you can see, 3 of them right now. And that was called a quintesson. There were 2 species of quintesson. So the quintesson that you see here was the 5-headed quintesson, which had 5 demonic faces, a glowing orb, and tentacles. And then you had the 1-headed quintesson with 1 demonic face and a lot of tentacles. These 2 species wanted to create this big manufacturing plant, as you can see under the 5-headed quintesson. They named this manufacturing plant Cybertron. And they had 2 production lines of robots. They had hardware, which as you can see here next to the quintesson, this robot here was a part of the hardware. And you have military. Military would now be known as Decepticons, and hardware will now be known as the Autobots. So anyway, as years went on, the quintessons grew lazier and started to program their robots to do their every single bidding. The robots developed feelings and became sentient beings, which are living things. And they started to develop emotions. they rebelled against their masters or their leaders, and they went against the enslavement. They pushed the Quintessons and fought and made the Quintessons flee onto another planet, which the Quintessons named Quintessa. Cybertron, to these new form of sentient beings, was a planet to them. And the military and hardware robots lived in peace for thousands of years, which was called the Golden Age, until the military waged war on the hardware because they wanted conquest and they wanted to rule Cybertron. From there, it became a civil war between the hardware and the military. Since the military robots were military equipped, they had a way bigger advantage for the hardware, and the hardware was losing very badly. So that was from in the beginning of the Civil War. Then the hardware, since they were creative robots and intuitive robots, and they used everything that they could to win this fight, to make peace again, they created the art of transforming. They created the art of turning into something else that was in their sight. So a military robot could be in front of a hardware robot but not even know it because it looks like something else the military robots see every day. And that gave the hardware robots an edge. They used the art of transforming as stealth. So they used stealth and sneak attacks more to fight the Decepticons / the military robots. And they had the upper end for the middle part of the war, the Civil War, until the Decepticons learned the art of transforming, and the Decepticons with military equipped powers and the art of transforming. So they used stealth and military weapons to overthrow the hardware robots. Soon, as you can see in this picture here of Cybertron, all these explosions and Cybertron looks dead and weak. The Civil War took all of Cybertron's energy, I mean, the war and the fires and the bombs and stuff destroyed cities and places in Cybertron, and it started to weaken Cybertron. So millions of years later in this war, the hardware are called the Autobots now, and the military are called the Decepticons now. And so an elite team of Autobots with their leader of the whole race of Autobots, which includes Optimus Prime and everything like that. Oh yes, I have a question. Q&A. How did the Decepticons learn the art of transforming? Did an Autobot teach them? So no, the Autobots did not teach the Decepticons. The Decepticons, when the Autobots created the art, and the Decepticons were kind of confused, the Decepticons got used to it, so they knew that the hardware robots the Autobots could be anywhere. So from watching them transform and do it over and over again, they wanted to learn how to do it, and they kind of went and found out how they did it, and the Decepticons learned the art of transforming by themselves. No Autobot would teach them. So they were too in the war. The two races were too much in the war that an Autobot would never think of doing this for a Decepticon, or a Decepticon would never think of doing this for an Autobot. So the Decepticons learned on their own. From that question, any other questions that you may have so far? Any other questions? No questions? I'm just gonna wait a little bit. If you have any questions, make sure to put them in Q&A. Just wait a little bit if anybody has any questions and they're still typing it. Yes, question. What happened to the five-faced creature? So Why was the five-faced creature? So the five-faced quintessons and the one-faced quintessons, as I said, you may have missed, the Autobots and Decepticons, when they were in peace with each other, they felt like they were being enslaved, and they rebelled. They rebelled to the point where it's between the Autobots and Decepticons versus the Quintessons / five-faced creature. And so there was too many Autobots and too many Decepticons, and so they overthrew the Quintessons, and the Quintessons / five-faced creature, they couldn't handle it anymore, so they packed their bags and they fled to another planet, which they named Quintessa. Okay, so I hope that gave you a better understanding. Any other questions? Yep, another question. Okay, thank you. Okay, that's it. Okay. Is that all the questions for right now? Any questions for the actual history of how the franchise came about, how the whole idea came about right now? For a little bit. Okay. All right, so let's get back to it. So anyway, an elite team of Autobots went to go find energy for their dying planet to try to restore their planet. The Decepticons were doing the same as the Autobots, but the Decepticons were only doing it so that they can rule the planet. The Autobots were doing it so that they can restore the planet, stop the Decepticons, and make peace in their world. Unfortunately, the leader of the Decepticons and the lead team of Decepticons followed the Autobots, boarded their ship, and they fought they had a big battle, and all of them kind of went into like a sleep, and they crash landed into a volcano on Earth. Now, this was in the dinosaur age. No humans walked the Earth. The dinosaurs walked the Earth. This is when volcanoes were really, active and stuff like that. So it was about 24 million years later when the volcano erupted again. This is in the human age. So, and here's something ironic. So a volcano erupted in the human age, and a volcano erupted in the year of 1984, and the cartoon was literally made in the year and released in the year of 1984. So they kind of used that, actual time for their animation. Back to the volcano eruption. So the volcano erupts in the year of 1984, millions of years later. From that volcano erupts, the Autobots' computer, Teletran 1, wakes up, explores Earth, and fixes the damaged Autobots and Decepticons, and gives them human form. So they don't look like humans, but what Teletran did was he scanned different things like jets, trucks, stuff, human material things, and he gave it to the Autobots and Decepticons. Unfortunately, Teletran 1 isn't like the Autobots or Decepticons, where he'd be like, I'm not helping the Decepticons, I'm only helping the Autobots. No, he helped both, and they escaped. And the Civil War from Cybertron fled and made its way into Earth. So now that the Autobots are awakened and the Decepticons are awakened, I believe I saw a question. No, just hallucinating. Now that the Autobots and Decepticons are awakened, they're still fighting. But then the Autobots realize that there's actual life on this planet, and they team up with the humans. And they made it their mission to restore balance to Cybertron, defeat the Decepticons, make peace on their planet, and also protect the humans from the Decepticons, and make sure peace is and make sure there's peace on Earth. So they teamed up with two humans, Spike Witwicky and Sparkplug Witwicky, father and son, and they worked in the hardware industry. And so they teamed up with the Autobots, and it was also later down the line in the second season. There was 4 seasons of the cartoon, and they broke it up. They had 2 seasons, then a movie, and then the 3rd and 4th season. And if you're looking to, quick note, if you're looking to, purchase or, look at, the cartoon and stuff, you can find it. If any of you have Xfinity cable, any of you have Xfinity and Comcast, there should be an app. If you go to apps on Xfinity, should be an app called Tubi. And you don't have to sign in or anything, but there should be an app on Tubi. There should be an app called Tubi, and on Tubi, there's the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th season of the 1984 cartoon and many other cartoons of the Transformers on there. So if you want to watch this, you can. Also, at the end, towards the end, I'll be showing you I'll be showing you some original footage and some footage of the actual cartoon and some footage of other stuff and such. So, and commercials and things. But back to this. So later down the line in season 2, there's a girl named Carly, which joins the Autobots as well and marries Spike Witwicky, and they have a child named Daniel, and that's in the 3rd season. That's later down the line. But back to the 1st season, so the humans help the Autobots learn more about Earth, get the Autobots aware of their surroundings, and the Autobots fight the Decepticons and protect the humans. So this goes on for the 1st, 2nd season. Then in the 2nd season, Cybertron is kind of restored to health, but the Decepticons are ruling it, and the Autobots are figuring out a way to reconquer Cybertron in the name of good. And this is the movie of 1984. And so, spoiler alert, if you've never watched the cartoon, I'm sure none of you have, and haven't watched the movie, and if you have watched movies, the live action movies, okay, what I'm trying to say is if you know of some of the characters, some of the most famous popular characters is Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, and maybe some others. If Optimus Prime is one of your favorite Transformers, if you really like Transformers, and Optimus Prime is kind of like your favorite, well, spoiler alert, Optimus Prime dies in the 1984 movie. But that's in the 1984 movie, but just letting you know that. If Optimus Prime is your favorite character and you're thinking about watching a movie, watching some of the seasons, in the movie 1984 or 1986, sorry, Optimus Prime dies. But back to what I was saying. So in the movie, the Autobots, there's like a really big war between the Autobots and, between the Autobots and the Decepticons. And, some of the Autobots die, some of the Decepticons die. New Autobots and new Decepticons come, and that comes into the 4th and 3rd and 4th season, which is the war between the Autobots and Decepticons on Earth, and on Cybertron, and on other planets. And this is also the war. It's not only the war between the Autobots and Decepticons, but the war between the Autobots, Decepticons, and Quintessons. So the Quintessons make a comeback. So yeah, and that whole storyline of Autobot versus Decepticon, transforming, stealth, all that stuff continues on into different comics, different cartoons, and the live-action movies that we see today. So let's get into some characters of 1984. Hold on 1 second. Okay. Awesome. And get it. Yes. Get my DVD case. Hold on. So, guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. So here's some original characters from the cartoon of 1984. So here we have, my animation. So here we have Shockwave, the the Decepticon military commander and second in command. We have Hot Rod, an Autobot scout, a second generation Autobot scout. Also, what I mean by first generation and second generation, the first generation is before the 1986 movie, which means the first and second season of the 1984 cartoon. The second generation is after the movie and the third and fourth cartoon. So, and also we have Rodimus Prime, which is the second generation leader of the Autobots. Next, we have Bumblebee, who was a first generation scout, Optimus Prime, who was a first generation leader, and Sideswipe, who was a first generation soldier. We also have Sunstreaker, who was a first generation soldier and brother of Sideswipe. We have Wheeljack, who was a mechanical engineer of the Autobots. And we have Soundwave, who was the Decepticon communications commander. We also have Megatron, who was a first generation Decepticon leader, Starscream, who was a first generation aerial commander, and Octane, who was a second generation soldier. And these are all Decepticons. So let's get into the term of something that you may not be familiar with, but it's a term in mostly every cartoon and every comics. It's called combiners. Combiners are a team of Transformers that come together to become a giant Transformer. For the Decepticons, their combiners are used in the heat of battle to destroy all opponents, and for the Autobots is to fight off the Decepticon combiners and to protect and defend all. Okay? So, and also heads up, there are way more Decepticon combiners than Autobot combiners. There are only 3 Autobot combiners. Okay, so here are the combiners from 1984. So we have Bruticus, who was a first generation he was a first generation combiner and uses brute strength against all of his opponents. We have the first combiner that ever lived in the comics and in the 1984 cartoon. We have Devastator, the first ever combiner. And since he was the first ever combiner, he wasn't that great. But he used brute strength and high skilled weapons against his opponent. We also have Minosaur, who used high skilled weapons, brute strength, and minor intelligence against his opponents. We also have Predaking, who uses brute strength against all of his opponents, and high skilled weapons as well. We also have Abominus, who uses brute strength against all of his opponents and is the dumbest of all combiners. Yeah, dumbest. So here are the Autobot combiners. We got Superion, who uses high skill weapons, some form of intelligence, and barely any strength against his opponents. We have Defensor, who uses strength, intelligence, and high skilled weapons against his opponents. We also have Computron, who was the smartest combiner to ever live, who uses high skilled intelligence and weapons against his opponents. So we have the combiners, but the combiners aren't one robot. There are 5/6 or maybe even 3 robots that come together to form this giant robot. So here are the teams, the combiner teams that form these giant robots that we just saw from 1984. So let's start with the Autobots. We got the Protectobots, which form Defensor. We have the Aerial Bots, which form the Superion. And, oh yes, Q&A. The figures also come together to form combiners. So do the figures also come together to form combiners? Yes, they do. Some figures I do have. Some figures, yes. So they do come together to form combiners, and technology is a beautiful thing. Even the most simplest technology is a beautiful thing. So basically, it just uses pegs or different connector ports to connect to transformed. Okay. Back to what I was saying. I kind of lost my train of thoughts. Anyway, so the Protectobots, as you see in its name, transform into also, hold on one second. So the Protectobots transform into protection vehicles. So we got fire trucks, police motorcycle, police car, or rescue helicopter, ambulance, stuff like that. The aerial bots form into fighter jets. And then we have the Technobots, which transform into futuristic like vehicles, and then they also form Computron. We got the Decepticon combiner team. So we got the Combaticons, which form Bruticus, and they transform into army type vehicles. So we got like a army helicopter, an army jeep, army truck with barrels coming out of it. We got a tank and a space shuttle. We also get the Terracons, which form Abominus. Like Abominus, the Terracons aren't really bright and they're very dumb. They transform into dragon and magical like creatures, and trolls and dragons and two-headed flying things. I don't know what you would call it. And yeah, so they transform into those things, and they act like animals. They don't really speak much. They kind of like grunt and roar and stuff. They're not really in their robot form. They're mostly in their futuristic, magical animal kind of monster form. Yeah, they don't really speak much. We also have the Predacons, which form into animals like a lion, hawk, buffalo, tiger, and a rhino. They're very powerful. They're very powerful transformers, and like the Terracons, they're not in their robot forms much. They're mostly in their animal forms. And then the first combiner team of all was the Constructicons. And like their name, they form into construction vehicles, like a heavy loader, a dump truck, and an excavator, and cement truck. I don't know a lot about construction vehicles, so I can't name everyone. So yeah, and then last but not least, we have the Stunticons, which form into cars. They form also, let me go back. I missed something. How could I miss something? The Constructicons form Devastator, by the way. Now back to the Stunticons. They form Minosaur, and they transform into stunt kind of road vehicles. And fun fact, the Decepticons were more aerial type things. They were more aerial, so jets. Decepticons had the power to fly, and most of their Earth forms were jets and planes and stuff of that nature. These and Autobots were more on the ground. They were road type vehicles, cars and such. So these were the first ever to fight the Autobots in their primary form. So they were like, they were used on the road so they could really get to the Autobots. Also for the Autobots, the aerial bots, the jets and stuff, that was used for the Decepticons since they could fly. Okay, so the toys. So let's get into why this cartoon and comics got toys, and things like that. So as it says here, the toys are always a resemblance of a version of a cartoon or comic. Now, why did the Transformers get toys? Now, the Transformers were a very popular and a big hit cartoon. But it wasn't because of that. Because a lot of at the time, big hit shows, not every big hit show and popular show got toys. Now, because of the whole idea of the Transformers were based off of toys and Hasbro partnered with that, it was really easy to bring toys in because they just used the toys that the whole idea was based off of, the Diaclone, if you remember the Diaclone toys, and they just, you know, when they shipped it into America, they kind of like tweaked it, maybe repainted some of them, took some features away that they had, some features that they may have had in Japan to make, and made them look more like how they looked in the cartoon and comics and stuff. Also, the whole idea of a robot, just robots at that time, where kids loved robots. That was already in high demand. Then cars and jets and planes were in high demand. Kids loved that. And then some Transformers could form into dinosaurs. Love that. As you can see, one here at the bottom left. Bottom left, you kind of get a dinosaur in the back. So, and dinosaurs were huge. So that, and the whole concept of a robot turning into those things, it was just, kids would automatically just love it. So, kids automatically would just love it. So, from that, the Hasbro was already going to know in high demand that toys were going to be in high demand. So, that's pretty much it for the whole presentation. So let's get into some Q&A. And oh, I got 3 Q&As. All right, so let's do this. Okay, so autonomous attendant. Who built the first toy that was able to transform? Like, how did they figure it out? Well, so as I said, Takara Tomy was a big hit toy company in Japan. And so what they did was they created the whole idea of robots transforming and stuff like that. How did they figure out how to transform and stuff like that? I have no idea. Well, yeah, I don't know. I have no idea on how that idea came about. I have no idea how they, you know, figure out how to make a toy do that. But, and so here is a toy that, this was a Diaclone toy. This is Optimus Prime, as you can see, but this was a Diaclone toy. This was originally a toy made in Japan. This is the, you know, American version. This is the American version that, as I said before, the Diaclone toys would be brung into America and, you know, repainted and stuff. But this was a Diaclone toy. So, if you can see here in the back, you got springs in there. So I'm going to show you how it transforms. So it's very simple, and I hope this gives you an idea on how they figured it out. So there's a spring in the arm circuit which allows it to go up and down, and then you got like some screws and stuff in here which makes it go in and out. And then you have, so let me show you how it transforms. So basically, push the head back. Ready? Right? And that's on. There are some connector ports at the end of this flap, and they plug into here. Okay. The arms, the hands pop out. Hands pop out. And you fold the arms all the way up. Fold the arms all the way up. Flip the feet down, and you push them back. And then you take the arms, you fold them back like so, and then you push the hands in. So that's a very simple transformation there, and very simple engineering. Gears, screws, and stuff like that. So I hope you get a kind of understanding of what that is. So Q&A 4, okay. Which one is your favorite? What's your favorite transformation? Oh gosh. Favorite transform. Which was my favorite to transform? That's a tough one. As far as my favorite character, who's my favorite character? I have tons of favorite characters. I mean, I have tons of favorite characters. I can't really choose. Can't really, say. But what's my favorite to transform? I don't have a specific one, but I'll tell you what I like to transform. A transformer that looks accurate and is semi complex to transform, and the finished product looks accurate to the show, and it moves very nicely. How many do you have? So let's show you my collection here, just to give you a brief display. So I have, let me just set it up here. So hold on one second, people. Let's close this out. So how many do I have? Well, let's start at the bottom. So here is my shelf. This is my bottom shelf, so we're going from the bottom up. And here are what these are called masterpiece transformers. Also by Takara Tomy, which were the original toy makers of the Diaclone line. Also by Takara Tomy. These are the most accurate, these are the most show accurate transformer toys, and they're pretty semi-complex to transform. So these are this is my favorite toy line of all the transformers. They're so I love accuracy. I really do love accuracy. So they're so accurate they look accurate, they transform accurately, and in their transform when they transform, the finished product is accurate. I mean, going up, we have, just regular transformers up there. Going up, just a little bit of transformers there. I also collect trains. I did a train presentation last year, so some of my trains were on the shelf. And then going all the way up, we got these. I also collect Voltron figures. Also, you see these green and purple ones? These are the Constructicons, one of the combiners, and they can combine. Unfortunately, these they have wear and tear, so it's harder for me to combine them now. So unfortunately, I can't show you that combining. What I can show you is transforming one of these. I got 2 more questions. Oh wait, no, I don't have 2 more questions. Okay. So I can show you how to transform one of them. So I'll transform this one here. So I'll just transform it real quick. I'm not going to explain it. I'll just show you. So I'll show you how semi-complex it is versus the transformation I just showed you with the Optimus Prime figure. Really complex. So any other questions while I'm transforming this for you guys? Any other questions that you may have? Any other questions? No more questions? Wow, I was expecting way more questions. Let me just check the Q&A bar. Do these come with instructions when you buy them? Yes, they do come with instructions when you buy them. Not every one comes with instructions when you buy them, but most of them do. But who needs instructions when you have YouTube, right? Yeah, and see, with the Masterpiece line, which is this shelf right here, their instructions are so confusing. Like, it's so confusing. So you basically just have to go to YouTube and find out how to transform it. But usually before I even get something, I'll be so adamant about getting it, I'll just watch the review like over and over again. And from watching somebody like review it and transform it and stuff like that all over and over again, seeing the reviews, stuff like that, it kind of gives me a sense on how to transform it already. So when it does get here, it's kind of just like, I know how to transform this already. This is easy, stuff like that. So yeah, that's how that works. Any other questions before I show you some other stuff? Any other questions? Feel free to ask questions. Don't feel afraid to ask any questions. Feel free to ask questions, okay? I'm gonna try and answer all of you guys' questions to make you guys happy and learn more about the Transformers. So feel free to ask questions, don't be afraid. So any more questions? Any more questions about the Transformers, about me? I guess I should tell you guys this before I do anything. So some of you guys may be wondering, whoa, how many Transformers do you have? How many Transformers do I have? Another person asked me that question. How many Transformers do I have? You know what? Let's count, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 35 Transformers on the shelf, and I have some in some baskets over here, so I have 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, let's see, 41, 42, 43, 44, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 49, 50, 51, 52. Yeah. So you heard the count. I have 52. You have 52. I have 52 Transformers. Are there any girl Transformers? Yes, there are girl Transformers. There are girl Transformers. Yes. There are a couple girl Transformers in the cartoon, but there is only one girl Transformer kind of toy. So sorry about that. You already answered that. I'm okay. When did you start collecting Transformers? Yes, I've been waiting to answer this question. So how I got into Transformers per se. So I got into Transformers by so my dad bought a DVD set, and I'm going to show you guys some footage shortly. But my dad gave me a DVD set, right? And so they hid it from me. My parents hid it from me in my closet, top shelf of my closet, because I guess they thought I was too young to watch it, right? So one day, stumbling upon, looking in my closet, exploring, I found it, but I didn't have any interest in it, so I was just like, yeah, I put it back. So one day I was watching TV. I think it was a Sunday or Saturday. I was watching TV, and our TV had a DVD player. And there was nothing to watch on TV, and I'm bored, and I'm just like, what to do? And I remember, I'm like, oh yeah, I have the DVD set. So I was just like, okay. So then, I climb up into my closet, I get it, and I put it in, and right then and there, I just loved it. So that's how I really got into the Transformers. When did I start collecting Transformers? I really can't remember when I started collecting Transformers. I really don't remember. I don't really remember when I started collecting. What is my oldest Transformer that I have? Okay, let me show you. Oh, no, I thought it was from the yard sale. Anyway. There is no green pickup truck transformer. Anyway, here's my oldest transformer. I mean, it's like totally destroyed. And I have a reason for that. I got this. This is before I actually started watching the cartoon, and I got this. I got this for like 3 or 4 in a yard sale. I remember my mother's telling me that this is not my oldest transformer, but this is the oldest transformer that I can remember. And so yeah, I had them 3 and 4, and then I thought playing with your toys means throwing them around and kicking them and punching them, and yeah. So this guy has had a rough life, but now I don't do that anymore. So he's having more peaceful life. That's pretty much my oldest transformer right now. Any other questions? Any other questions? Any other questions? No other questions? Okay, well, that's pretty much it for right now. Any other questions? Great job, thank you. Okay. You're welcome, no problem. Any other questions from attendees? Any other questions from some attendees? Learned so much. Thank you. I'm so happy that you learned so much. Any other questions from some attendees? So cool. Okay. So now I'm gonna show, is it time to end?
Oh, do you have more to go?
Yeah, I was going to show you guys some footage of the original cartoon. I have
Perfect.
original DVD. So here's the booklet that it came with for, you know, all the DVDs and the episodes that it came on. So yeah. So I'm just gonna play. Let's see if I can find it. So many DVDs. So I'm gonna play 2 DVDs right now. So I'm gonna play some commercials and bonus rounds, and I'll actually play some episodes. So get into my file. So I'm gonna play the first ever episode for right now. There we go. I have a question. Will you display your transformer when the library opens again? I don't understand what you mean by that. So, can you explain that question a little bit more? Elaborate on that question? It's like I don't really understand. Hello? Okay. Well, I'll try to understand what will I display. The library has display kits where you can share your collection for 2 weeks. I'll think. Yeah, I'll think about displaying some. I'll think about it. Maybe. You'll just have to go to the library to see and find out. I have to think about it. I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen once more. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen once more. Oh, another question? You have to sign up. If the wait is just over 2 years. Oh. Okay, thank you. I'll still be answering your questions, so don't worry. Okay, so can you guys see my Maplewood webinars? Can you see my screen? You see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can see my screen. Okay, great. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Sorry, I'm just trying to find my DVD player. Because, oh, I think it's in, yeah, here it is. Okay. All right. Okay, so I'm going to be showing you guys some original footage. Let's do this. Supported disc not available. Sorry, guys. Just trying to do this. Okay. Hold on 1 second, guys. I'm just trying to put this in. This will work. Sorry, guys. I'm really sorry for the holdup. Really sorry, guys. Okay. Okay, we have a holdup here. Maplewood webinars. We have a holdup.
What happened?
Okay. Okay, so I'm just gonna try and do something real quickly. Try to get this fixed.
Your permissions are still good, so but I'll double check that on my end.
What'd you say?
I think your permission to run video should be good, but I'll double check it on my end.
Okay. I'll try another disk just to make sure it's not my computer. Okay.
You're enabled to show HD video, so you should be able to do it.
My DVD player is not working for right now. I mean the
Then
disc
just
is not processing.
then maybe you just want to show people, just show them the video again and just the title so they know they can find it.
Okay, I'm gonna quit DVD player. Eject. Okay, so everyone, I'm gonna see if I can fix this. If I can't in the next couple of minutes, then I will show you guys on YouTube. Okay. Trying another disk here. Opening up DVD player. Please bear with me.
know what, Ahadu, let's just tell people what to look for, and then they can look for it and watch it themselves. I think that might be a good idea.
Well, I can still show them on. Okay. Okay. Well, it is the Transformers cartoon of 1984. As I said before, you can find it on if you have Xfinity cable, you can find it on Tubi, and that should be an app that you should have if you have Xfinity, and you can find it on Tubi. And yeah, so sorry, I was really hoping to show you, but technical difficulties. So I hope you've enjoyed. Are we webinars? Are we finished? Okay, so thank you all guys for watching, listening. I hope you've learned a lot more about the Transformers. I hope you go and watch the cartoon because it would be a great experience. And I shall see you guys when the library opens up, and I shall see you guys later. Hope you guys do good, be good, and drink your water.
Thank you very much, Ahadu. That was really excellent.
No problem. Oh wait, I have
Interesting.
a question. I have a last minute question.
Okay.
No, it wasn't a question. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And this will be available. We think we're going to put it on YouTube, so you'll be able to watch this again.
Okay. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys for Maplewood Library for having me, sponsoring me, supporting me. Yeah. I hope you guys get into Transformers yourself. You should start collecting if you want to be a collector. Also, they are, if you want more, just to give you a heads up, if you want more accurate toys, if you watch the cartoon and want more accurate toys, excuse me, you should look for Takara Tomy Masterpiece Transformers. Some sellers may be a little bit expensive, but these Transformers aren't that expensive. And if you want real high quality ones, you can look for it's something called third-party Transformers. And third-party Transformers, just look that up. They're very expensive, but they'll give you real high quality. So if you want to start collecting, or you could just get, basic Hasbro toy Transformers, and that's fine. But just giving you the heads up. Also, if you ever hear in cartoons or comics where they say con, that's short for Decepticon, and if they say bot, that's short for Autobot. Okay. So thank you guys all for having me. I hope you have a great day.
All right. Thank you.
No problem. I hope to see you guys in